challenge in creating such an open environment and actually crafting an experience for the player which is so open, and environment which is so free, is actually very complicated.
Complete freedom is confusing, so you have to provide a certain guidance to players because they don't want, to stand somewhere and have no clue what's going on.
There goes another one!
At one point you always have to close that bow, you have this open space, but at one point again you want to have the story still move on, then maybe open the section up a little more.
You want the job? You got it!
They want some kind of, guidance, being told that if you go in that direction the most exciting thing will happen. You can go there as well, that's fine. You give freedom, and at the same time you make it attractive enough that players will actually do the things you would like them to do.
So while designing the levels, the big direction that we're giving about level design has been always to make sure that the term Veni Vidi Vici is used in their minds. Veni Vidi Vici in terms of I come, I see, and I conquer is an anatomy, 3 steps of the minds of the gamer. Every level of the game is designed with player being able to approach the challenge, observing it, and then overcoming it.
It's not just this action game, you run around, you don't think, you just pull your trigger and shoot. I think we really would want the player be engaged on an intellectual basis as well.
The way we do it in Crysis is about letting the player outsmart the enemy. Usually aliens tend to be very stupid and very, one-dimensional. And we gave them multi-dimensional navigation, but also we gave them senses like hearing and seeing, as we did with human AI with Far Cry.
At the Far Cry times, all we had was basically all the characters were walking on the surface or a vehicle was drawing on the ground. So we had to build this technology which allows us to make the AI navigate in total 3D environments. And then we ran into the funny situation that you could pick up the top of a tree and hold it in front of you, which sort of hides you from the AI. And then we had to teach these guys that, if there's suddenly a tree in the middle of the road, it might be something fishy going on. Then we had to tell them that trees normally don't move. So if a tree moves, it might be that the player is hiding behind it.
We worked with EA on this, to our EA partners. We need a visual benchmark on this game. We need something that showcases Crysis without having it yet. And so we created this video, which we call Corex video. We worked with a CGI studio in Hollywood called Blur Studios. And we said, make it as strong and as cool looking as you can get. We will match you in real time. And they're like, are you sure we can use everything? Motion blur, everything, depth of field? Yeah, go wild. And so they created the video. 1 year later, we already catch up. 2 years later, today, we actually surpassed that video even.
Technologically, I think our R&D department is the finest in the world, basically. They manage to do things which everybody tells them are not possible to do.
We have developed a whole new engine for Crysis because of its needs. Because we're simulating environments like the alien ship, which is not possible with traditional engines.
I just lost gravity. I'm using thrusters to stabilize myself. It's going to take some getting used to.
CryEngine 2 had to be created for that reason, one of the major reasons. If it would have been visible from the beginning on, I think we would have not undertaken Crysis. It would have been just too big.
But you have to be careful that you don't, innovate for innovation's sake. There are some things where you should stick to the basics.
We always try to find the most pragmatic, the simplest answer to something, but we still really think about it from all angles and try to come up with the best thing.
Hey, Nomad, you still with us?
Our facial motion capture system, we talked about that at GDC, and some people were like, you guys use eyeliner and it takes 10 minutes, in a webcam, and we use like a $50 webcam, and it seems pretty ghetto, but at the same time, it works pretty well.
To get the sound of the alien itself, we used a bunch of weird latex sort of squishy balls that you used they're stress release balls or something like that. We would pour a bunch of liquid soap into them, roll them around in our hands, and get these visceral, sort of disgusting sounds.
For us, we see risk as opportunity, and other people see risk as a problem or a point of failure.
You believe this?
And we don't do many games. Every 2-3 years, one game coming out. So we have to do every 2 years something exceptional just to increase the company reputation.
I think EA knew what we were getting into when we first started working with Crytek. They do have a very forward-thinking way of development, and they do love to sort of push the boundaries of what's possible.
We were the first adopter on DX10. We were the first adopter on Windows Vista, and that is basically all that was extremely risky and extremely problematic to develop. We developed on beta software, on operating system. We developed on alpha beta hardware, which was actually extremely problematic because we needed to throw away a lot of work, basically.
Of course, between a developer and a publisher, there's always friction. If there wouldn't be friction, we would say nobody cares. But I would even argue as more friction there is, as more people care about what they do.
I think this game will have a big impact on the marketplace. There's been other very successful and fantastic games out there in the genre, but I think Crysis will make people think about what the structures of first-person shooters should be.
Crytek's culture of pushing an innovation and redefining things inherently means that it's going to be very difficult for the future because we need to top ourselves again, and it means us dealing with new technologies and always with new innovation.
Yeah, that I'd like to see.
Good thing is the gamers will always get great products, hopefully.